96 WFAN.
Good morning, New York. Michael Graves here on the Fan, WFAN. Please remember to call in on our toll-free hotline at 877-337-6666. Brought to you by Mohegan Sun, Connecticut. Mohegan Sun at the Pocono Downs and Mohegan Sun at resorts in Atlantic City. We're going to be taking calls once again. Want to hear your thoughts. I appreciate the thoughts and the call-ins and feedback from the various listeners. I see we got a switchboard full of folks who are still waiting to get their piece in as well. I do want to say, as the new guy, I want to thank all the folks who I've met who have contributed greatly to my time here already. Not that I'm going anywhere just yet. I'm with you for another hour. But Steve, who was kind enough to bring me on to his show for a few minutes right before I came on last hour, was fantastic. To look, when you get a chance to literally learn from and be sitting next to a living legend who's been with us now for 27 years here at the station. You want to soak all that in, and he obviously has a tremendous amount of credibility with his audience, and I am just extremely appreciative of him very much bringing me into his studio and very much under his wing and introducing me to his audience, which was just fantastic. So I want to thank Mr. Steve. I want to thank Casey, who's been kind of coaching me in my time prior to coming on the air and coming here today. We've been kind of texting and emailing and calling back and forth to just kind of get things lined up. I was fortunate enough to meet Harris and spend a little bit of time chatting with him prior to getting on, and he's been popping in and out and kind of giving me some good feedback as well. And needless to say, none of this would be possible without Brian, who is my producer. And it turns out we are actually, I guess ski brothers, separated, separated at birth. Who knew of all things? But we happen to enjoy a ski resort that I grew up in, or grew up at least skiing at, and he goes there now with his family, and we literally know all the same runs, and we're going back and forth with chairlifts and runs and the whole nine. So
I'm sure you blew past me a few times.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That was me. The big guy in the tuck position. My tuck is not as tight anymore. I got a little bit more gut in my tuck, but I'm trying.
Kicking the snow in my face. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. But anyway, so I just want to say thanks again to everybody who has been fantastic here at the show. I am going to get on and take a couple more calls. I do agree, by the way, again with the last caller who came on, who had a few different things to say, but one of them in particular about Manziel. I could go on about Manziel. I feel like it's almost not even worth the time. But granted, I've never met him, but he seems like he is a 100% punk. I mean, just a 100% punk from soup to nuts. Like, if you looked up punk in the dictionary, he'd be there with a smile, a drink, and, a Twitter page, in a mobile device in his hand. I mean, I'm just not a fan, not feeling it. I will say I was impressed with what he did in college, particularly when he played Alabama. He threw for 460 or 70 yards or something. So you had to be impressed with what he did then. I knew he was going to be a failure as a pro. Don't think he's going to make it. Not big enough, not strong enough. Just don't think he's going to carry the day at all. And I think his off-field antics are even going to be worse than ever imagined. So I see a couple of people waiting to talk about Jameis Winston. I hope those same people have something to say about Johnny Manziel, because if we're getting into off-field behavior, we got to go there also. But we'll deal with that when we get to the call. Right now, let's go to Rob. We're going to go to Rob from Rockland. I see you want to talk about the Giants and the Knicks. How are you doing? Happy holiday, Rob.
Happy holidays to you. Good morning, and welcome to the WFAN family.
Thank you, sir.
All right, this is all I want to do. I got three wishes as well, so I'm going to make my Giants and Knicks points because they're part of my three wishes. First, let's start with the Giants, just because, to your point with Eli Manning, yeah, you're right. He needs to go to leadership school, but at his age and years in the league, things aren't going to change. I mean, in that respect, he's not going to get fired up. He's not going to push people around. He's not going to tell people what to do. Odell Beckham Jr. needs to tone it down a bit. I agree with you with that. But, it's just a team in general, when you're lacking a leader, nobody on offense is a real leader. I mean, I look at Victor Cruz, and, that's Victor Cruz. We had issues with him in the beginning of the season, Tom Coughlin did. And he's been made the captain. I don't think he fits that bill. He's he's injured this year, injured last year. I wasn't a fan of giving him the money, but he's definitely got talent. So it's just overall on the team, other than Antrell, I don't really see anyone showing emotion, veteran, in veteran leadership, which is why I saw in the off season, and maybe this upcoming off season, a guy like Steve Smith, not for a talent, just to be on the team, a leadership to take a guy like Odell Beckham Jr. under his wing and say, okay, kid, this is cool, this is not cool. You can show emotion, but this is too much. This is where you gotta stop. So that's what I think the Giants are lacking. I think they need to have a true leader on offense, and maybe another one on defense. And I don't think it's going to be Eli Manning.
Okay, well, you may be right. Maybe Eli is not going to be that guy. I think it's unfortunate that he's not that guy because by definition in the NFL, when your quarterback is your salary leader, he's the face of the franchise. You pay him $100 million. It's not too much to ask him to lead the team to the river to have them drink. You got to bring the horses to the water, Eli. That's what you got to do. When pay $100 million, that's part of the gig. It's part of the gig. I mean, I don't see how we can apologize for that. I mean, I understand what you're saying. He may never really grow into that role and embrace it the way he should. That doesn't make it right. That makes it unfortunate. But give me your other two real quick.
All right, two real quick. The Knicks, Carmelo. Well, I'll do the Knicks real quick. The Knicks aren't happy with the triangle offense. Well, guess what? You either get used to it or you get out of here. Because what you did to Mike Woodson is not going to happen under the watch of Phil Jackson. I mean, I may be one of the few people on this. Carmelo Anthony, superstar, one of the best players in the league. I just don't like him on my team. The Knicks, his teammates are saying he shoots too much. It's been well documented over his career. The last and final thing is on the Mets. We're on our way up. I wish we would just get new owners. And the same thing with the Knicks, too. Just get new owners.
Okay.
Those are my wishes. Thanks so much, and happy holidays.
Okay, you too. Thank you. Well, listen, I agree with part of what he has brought forward. I think when you start to look at character again, Eli's challenged in that way. When you start to talk about the Knicks, look, this is a good opportunity for me to do my top three on the Knicks, as I haven't done my own top three, because I agree with the caller. My top three wishes for the Knicks are, I would like the team to play defense collectively. That's number one. Number two, I would like everybody to play defense individually. And number three, I would like my highest paid player, Mr. Carmelo Anthony, to consider breaking down and playing some defense. Again, when we pay you $120 million as the highest paid player on the team, and by default, the leader of the team, you can't take a check. I think it's fair to say, folks, you can't take a check for $100 million, be paid basically more than damn near the whole team combined, and then say, I don't really want to be a leader. What? We're paying $100 million and you can't be a leader? That's asking too much? So when you came into the press conference, you led your accountant, your lawyer, your wife, your kids, your baby's mothers, your family, whatever else, into the press conference to get the check. So we can do it then. But we can't lead everybody and play a little defense? I'm not there. Carmelo needs to play defense. The team needs to play defense. They need more discipline. They need a whole bunch of stuff in the Knicks. But let's just start with defense. We could start with defense. But listen, we're gonna go to break. When we come back from the break, then we're gonna get into a few more calls. I'm Michael Graves and the Fan, WFAN.
Need a last-minute holiday gift? Then keep it here for our 2-day Yankees Ticket Blitz. Listen hourly from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Continuing today as we give away Yankees Red Sox tickets for April 10th or 12th at Yankee Stadium. It's all from your flagship station for Yankees baseball. The Fan, Sports Radio 66 and 101.9 FM, WFAN and WFAN FM, New York.
Folks, over the holiday, go to Zambuca's Cafe. Get away the Little Italy way at Zambuca's Cafe, now celebrating 20 years on Mulberry Street. Enjoy fine desserts and expertly made cappuccino. Treat your honey to a cafe au lait and woo her with tiramisu. Sip a cappuccino with the writers, artists, and celebrities. A soothing Italian atmosphere awaits you. Relax, read the morning paper, and enjoy a plethora of fresh-baked goods, croissants, and pastries. The bar stocks over 20 beers, wines from around the world. Zambuca's Cafe at 105 Mulberry Street. Visit ZambucasCafe.com. Get away the Little Italy way at Zambuca's Cafe. All right, folks, we're back. I need you to call in at WFAN, The Fan, 877-337-6666. I am Michael Graves, and I will be with you until the top of the hour. Brought to you by Mohegan Sun, Connecticut. Mohegan Sun at Pocono Downs and Resorts in Atlantic City. We're going to take some calls. I see the board is lighting up nicely now. I do want to say when it comes to character on teams, I think character is, you got to have talent, but there's got to be some character. And I believe when push comes to shove, particularly in football, but in some of the other sports also, but I believe you need some character and some strength in the big guys on your team. And what I mean is that when you go back and look at, as my friend from Philadelphia would remind me, one of my best friends in the world I went to school with, he's a Pittsburgh guy through and through. Although he's from Jersey, I'm not even sure how he picked up the Steelers, but nonetheless, we'll put that part aside for a second. But when Dr. John talks about the Steelers, he talks about his 6 Super Bowls and et cetera, et cetera. I go back to when I was growing up, Mike Webster was holding down the offensive side of that organization, and Joe Green was holding down the defensive side. Now, Mike Webster died a few years ago, unfortunately. Joe Green is still alive, was celebrated this past year. I think he was some Ring of Honor or something that they did with him, or maybe it was some anniversary of some sort. He was already in the Hall of Fame, so he did something else with the Steelers. But those were 2 high-character guys, but they were also the biggest guys, or 2 of the biggest and strongest and toughest guys, but also perceived as 2 nice guys, intellectually strong, good community guys, but they were no-nonsense guys, and they were holding the fort down in that locker room. They also had a balance, which I think is also kind of key, of one of them happened to be black and one of them happened to be white. I think that there's something to that also. I think you need some balance of some size and strength and integrity about you on offense and on defense. I think you need the pillars in a locker room to build a locker room. And you start with guys like that. Today, or at least a couple of years ago until he retired, I think a guy like Jeff Saturday in Indianapolis was one of those guys. I think a guy like Vince Wilfork in New England. I know everybody's not a New England fan, but guess what? Tom Brady can do all the yelling and screaming he wants. When Vince Wilfork rolls up on you at 6'5", they list him at 325 or something, which is laughable. He's like 325 on his left side, okay? I'm 325. B, you looking at me? I'm 325. This man is not 325.
No. I mean, compared to you, obviously, you said you're 325. He's obviously not 325.
No, he is not 325. Vince Wilfork is 385 if he's an ounce, okay? If he's an ounce, he's 385, and he's 6'5". But he is a sturdy individual, a stand-up guy, and a no-nonsense guy. So Brady can do all that yelling and screaming and stuff on the sidelines. I think Wilfork just rolls up to you quietly, like, bruh, seriously? If we don't fix this immediately, I'm going to have to get with you. And I think that quiets the other piece of that down. That being said, and by the way, Reggie White for the Eagles was one of those guys. Never got to a Super Bowl, but unequivocally was one of those guys who managed the Jerome Browns of the world and the Andre Waters of the world, even the Randall Cunninghams, who could have gotten away from himself with ego and all that stuff before social media. He could have been one of those guys. You had him. Then you had a guy on offense, like a guy like John Spagnuolo out of Yale, who was a straight-up guy. I spent a lot of time around the Eagles, so I saw that firsthand. But that was Reggie's locker room at the end of the day. You weren't going to run around and just act a fool up in there. That being said, we're going to take a call for – what do I got here? I've been been looking to get with – I missed some of the other calls earlier with Mr. – let's go with Mark. Mark, you there? You want to talk about Jameis Winston?
Hey, Mike. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays, and I wish you continued success with everything in your ventures and your career going forward, man. You sound great tonight.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it.
Okay, couple things. I just want to talk about your comparison with Ben Roethlisberger and Jameis Winston. I think it's fair to say if you were going to trust a franchise going forward, Ben Roethlisberger coming into the league did not have some of the red flags that Jameis Winston had, correct?
I think that's fair. I don't recall it. I don't recall any, but I don't recall following Roethlisberger a whole lot in college. But I didn't hear those things in college. So yes, let's go with your hypothesis.